We were working on a really awesome yoga, Pilates, and mindfulness application. It was going to be a launch title for Quest 3 to be announced at Connect. And 48 hours before certification kickoff, Meta canceled the project and didn't want to pay the bill. They breached the contract by killing it in the way that they did. We wouldn't get the reasons for why the contract was ended verbally. We didn't get it in writing. They just killed it in a meeting, didn't want to pay the bill, and tried to, rid themselves of us. My name's Andre Elijah. I ran, I guess, Andre Elijah Immersive. We were, game studio and interactive agency all in one. In the last year, we released 2 titles on Quest. We released last year Jupiter and Mars Definitive Edition for Tigertron, and earlier this year we released a medieval VR for New Blood. Other than that, we've worked a bunch with Meta on R&D projects, Qualcomm, Snap, you name it. Did a bunch of stuff with Epic in the last year. We've been around in the interactive and immersive space for probably I've been around at least for 7 years now. In the last year, I'd say up until this past January, things were great. Starting January, everything went to hell unexpectedly. To kind of shed a light on that, we passed greenlight for the Allo project in December, moved my family to Los Angeles in January to work on the project. Allo HQ is in LA. And from the jump on the project, we encountered a bunch of complications with Meta. But we overcame all of them and made a really great app. I'd say, things got harder and harder in terms of, the relationship. And now in the last, I'd say month, everything's really gone to hell. Moved to LA to work with a brand that had a really great aesthetic, really great understanding of the market. And I think we could have, released something special that hit all the marks and expanded the foothold of XR beyond, the core demographic. And it's kind of unfortunate that we didn't get to do that. They didn't want to pay what they owe under the agreement, the milestones. If they had said, hey, projects get killed all the time, right? That's nothing new. That's just development. That's the games industry. That's everything. So there's nothing special about that. It was the fact that they just didn't want to pay the bill. That's where things kind of had to escalate. We were way past vertical slice. We had completed our alpha, beta, and QA certification milestones. So we were entering into the QA process with Meta to get it ready for launch in November. We entered into the agreement as 3 partners. It was Meta providing funding and IP by way of early access to the hardware and SDKs and such. Allo helped define what the content would be. The app itself, basically the yoga and Pilates segments had virtual trainers. We had 3D avatars of some of Allo's biggest trainers. And we had 11 days of motion capture shoots. So they provided their talent, and we did full-on mocap of those trainers performing yoga and Pilates. And we had a separate mindfulness section as well that you can use to meditate and chill. So the content, Allo helped bring that to life. Meta provided funding, and then we did all the development of it. So, the brand itself, that was brought in by Allo, Meta funding. So we can't just take what we built and take Allo's name off of it, take the trainers off of it, and still put it out. We entered into this as a partnership. So all of us have to consent to that. The team busted their asses to build one hell of an app with a really popular mainstream high-end brand that could, move the XR space beyond the enthusiasts, right? Quest 3 was the device that would go wide. Presumably, that was the hope. And with, with a popular brand whose clothing shows up and has a bunch of really popular celebrities that are attached to it, this was a chance to go beyond the sphere. And Aloe is that halo brand that you would want attached to a new product in this way. Um, when it was killed, it was killed by Meta, but we don't really know the reasons why they wouldn't communicate with us in the run up to this. In the 2-3 weeks run up to this, Meta wouldn't take meetings with us. They put us off. They stopped responding for meetings. Allo stopped taking meetings and they pushed them off. Even a couple days before the meeting where the project was killed, I texted one of the people at Allo and said, "Hey, any secret meetings with Meta I should know about?" Because usually at this point, it's the week of QA. They're usually all over us for those builds, and we haven't heard a peep and literally heard nothing. So both sides ghosted us completely. And then, the email came saying, "Hey, can you talk tomorrow?" From Meta. And Joe joined me on the call, and Meta said, "We're killing the project." And when we pressed them for more information, or any information, they explicitly said, "It doesn't matter what you turned in, we weren't going to accept it." Nope. It doesn't matter what you turned in, we weren't going to accept it. Period. This is a pretty big issue that we have to overcome. I even, so since so much money was owed to me, I basically killed my studio, because I couldn't afford anyone anymore since Meta refuses to pay the bill. And so I got a full-time job like a normal person. I've been contracting my whole adult life, and freelancing. I got a full-time job as COO of a respectable startup, and was told that was mentioned at Connect in my absence. Meta shared that they were not fans of mine at this point, and 5 business days after I started the job, I was informed that I was fired because of this lawsuit. Wednesday, Joe. Wednesday, Thursday, Thursday morning. Yeah, they definitely came at me, and I'm not the only one that they've gone after, to the point where now the feds have been in touch with me and we're talking to them about looking into all of this. And there's also a class action lawsuit that's being spun up. So I'm not the only person that this has happened to. I'm not the only one that's out there. I'm just the one that's speaking up right now, because I don't have a staff anymore, and a full studio that I have to watch out for. It's me now. Right now, I'm out of town. My wife had to get me out of town to get my head on straight so I can deal with all of this, because this has been a lot. I didn't think, if you take a look historically at my Twitter, you've known me for a while, Ian. I've always defended Meta. I've defended the vision. I never thought I'd be in this boat. That part came as a shock. The fact that I can't be hired in the space, and I was told 2 days ago that Andre Elijah, I'm a death sentence. That was a shock. I don't know what the next few weeks looks like. I'm still processing all of this. I didn't even want all this to go public. I was trying to handle this behind closed doors, and it was a court reporter from Reuters that caught the filing that kicked all this off. I just wanted it dealt with silently, and to not be, I didn't want to be the story, but here I am. So I don't know what the next few weeks looks like. I'm still processing everything. The feds reached out. We're going to be talking to them. Some other folks reached out. We'll be talking to them, and we'll go from there. But I'm still processing. On the Quest platform, nobody is safe. And I'll explain that. If you are pitching a project to Meta, whether it's to get it on the store or you're asking them for funding, you basically need to show them a complete business plan. It's not about the game. It's about the community around the game, prospective sales, the market. It's everything you would give a real investor under an NDA behind closed doors for funding to help build you up. What happens though is you provide Meta, a small team at Meta, those materials. They figure out if they deem that market segment valuable, and then they use it to inform their own development processes. And they use it to figure out if they're going to straight up clone you and beat you on price and reach, or if you pose a threat to what they have in the works or could spin up in the works rather quickly, they kill you. I didn't think that was the case. And my perspective on that has changed because I've been through it now. In terms of me, being business minded, whatever, dude, I don't know. I think right now, for the time being, I'm kind of out of business. But I've seen it with a bunch of devs. I've seen Meta get really petty over less money than we're talking about in this suit. And the thing that doesn't make sense to me is, why draw the ire of a development community? Why, send up a flare to the feds consistently over such petty amounts of money that is, everything to a small indie dev, but, less than the wage of 2 Horizon Worlds engineers over a year. It makes no sense. So yeah, right now I guess I'm pretty disillusioned on the space and Meta in particular.